Under the ANC, the ANC government is a mess, a corrupt sort of mess, failed, party. The ANC has failed. Even though the ANC is a mess, but we can't deny the good things that the ANC has done. And to the extent I can say that the ANC, under the ANC government, blacks and coloreds are much better. Yes, there are problems, but blacks and coloreds are much better. Like how I will describe the ANC rule compared to the racist whites rule in South Africa since 1910 to 1994 is that I will sort of describe it in this way, that the ANC, under the ANC, there is better, under the ANC in terms of, if you look at our health, like in terms of life expectancy and those type of things. Pre-1994, life expectancy was around 62 years or so, and under the ANC it improved, even with the HIV scandal, which really caused a problem under the president of Thabo Mbeki. Quickly after the leadership, after that administration was chased out, and then a new leadership came in, which was the leadership under Zuma, and they began to roll out ARVs. Life expectancy simply went up. Right now, life expectancy for men, pre-apartheid, life expectancy in general was around 62, with also those racial disparities, taking place between, blacks, whites, coloreds, and all of that, of which, and the blacks were at the lowest because of the systematic oppression that was currently taking place. So it was below 62 years under the apartheid government for black males, black males, and then post apartheid, it has reached close to 65 years. The average black male can live around, to those times, including even the whites. Even the whites are benefiting, even the whites, things are going well for them under this ANC government. When you look at the issue of policing, it has, even though still problems with the Madlanga Commission that is now taking place, but things are much better. Back then people were just, police could just do anything they like. They will find, there are those stories, and there are movies that have been shown, regarding those things, where you have this respectable black man traveling with his wife and children, and all of a sudden probably he looks at, this was during the time of apartheid, he looks at the police in ways that the police doesn't like, or all of that, and then they will simply drag this black man and make him to scream like a monkey and all of those things. Those things were happening during apartheid. So to show you that the police thought that they had access, unrestrained access to black bodies, the ways in which they killed Bantu Biko, the way that they destroy Onkgopotsetiro, the Reverend Shezi was pushed on an oncoming train by a police officer. Those type of people who were in fact completely corrupt, because they were doing the wills of a completely corrupt racist government. So that has also improved. Right now, you don't find, that level of police brutality, against the black, white, colored community. This is under the ANC. when you talk of violent crimes, go check the stats. What was the stats for violent crime during the time of the apartheid, especially in 1994? Black on black violence, which because of the classified documents have revealed that they were deeply funded by the Nationalist Party, and if you look before that, under the racist white government, since 1910, crime rates were increasing. And then in 1994, when the ANC took over, they began to decline. Yeah, we still have problems, but now, in comparison between the two, we're much better, under the ANC. More people have access to clean running water under the ANC. Under the apartheid, they didn't care. They didn't care about black people. People were dying of typhoid, cholera, all those type of diseases. They didn't care. Even our hospitals were horrible. For that, you can just go listen to the testimonies of Mama Winnie. If you are trying to deny that. More people have access to electricity, and you can, what the apartheid government used to do. They used to spend all the resources on themselves and their minority community. All the resources were spent there, and then what was left was then just thrown away so that the majority can share on those leftovers. We didn't have much. So now you do see the ANC taking over that corrupt government. There's also a debate between Nelson Mandela and de Klerk about the very same thing. When Nelson Mandela exposed the corruption of the apartheid, that when the ANC took power in 1994, the apartheid government was in R500 billion in debt, and the ANC did not even, because those guys were just looking for reconciliation, they did not even use the laws which were offered in the UN for the fact that if the previous government was making such a debt, not on behalf of the entire population, the current government was not obligated to pay that debt. The ANC did not want to push on that. They simply took over that corrupt government, and they tried to build something. So right now there are more black people, access to clean running water. In terms of electricity, almost over 90% of South Africans, have access to electricity. In terms of infrastructure, there's this saying that the ANC built nothing. They did not even build one university. Under the ANC, 2 universities were built. The Solplaatje University and the University of Mpumalanga. This was done, and over 143 TVET colleges. And the government spent close to R1 trillion in infrastructure development. So now the idea, in fact, there are more proper roads that have been built, bridges, dams, and all of that under the very same ANC that people like to criticize. This is not saying, I'm voting for the ANC or I'm in support from the ANC, but one thing that is so sickening, so something that is more disgusting, is the fact that you have these people who are trying to make blacks look like the face of corruption and all that is bad, via their critiques of the ANC, because like right now it feels like that, that many of the whites who are critiquing ANC, they are not just critiquing ANC, they want to act as if black people as a whole are incompetent, as a people. And we are here to show you that that's just pure nonsense in terms of politics, voting. We can't even mention that. Right now we are more free in terms of our voting choices and all of that. Back then, we're not even allowed to vote. Imagine how corrupt a government has to be to not even allow people to vote. You know, we had to move around carrying these dumpas. The Sharpeville massacre, you know, was because of the fact that, you know, our ancestors simply refused to carry those stupid documents, you know, and those guys got angry because of that. In terms of, you know, economics, like, we have more black millionaires, we have more black entrepreneurs right now as we speak. There are more blacks, you know, in those top positions, you know, via those BEE policies that the DA is trying to destroy, because they are seeing that there is an improvement, you know, of, you know, blacks who are doing well, and they want to suppress that. Yeah, the BEE what has its own problems, but you can't ignore the fact that it has worked in terms of improving some of the black people's life. And in terms of education, we have more black PhDs, more black people who have masters, more blacks who possess degrees, more blacks who are studying at universities. Back then, probably it was just lucky that you studied at university. They did not want you there, and if you went to university, they created those universities for you, you know, second class type of universities, and Bona, they had all the best stuff. With regard to what is currently happening with the ANC, people can say whatever. Yes, you can critique it, but also mention the good stuff. Don't only mention the bad stuff. In fact, in terms of the GDP of South Africa, it has grown tremendously under the ANC. So do mention also the bad stuff, and also do mention also the good stuff. So stop trying to paint, you know, the organization with one side, because our ancestors started that organization, and it was through that organization that they were able to then give us what we have today. So just because some criminals have come into that organization and are now trying to destroy it, doesn't mean that in the 30 years since it was ruling, it has been nothing but horrible to black people. So people should just stop lying about those things. Hopefully, you know, these videos, they make you think. You know, they make you think, because not only did black people improve under the ANC, even white people are benefiting a lot under the ANC. Even in those things that I'm currently mentioning, even white people have improved, Indians have improved, colors have been improved under the ANC. So people should you know, stop this thing of, you know, as I said, painting one side. Paint both sides and be, you know, analytical, critical in terms of how you deal with those issues. Hope this video makes you think about those things, and also just also, you know, for it to help you in terms when you engage with other types of people. You know, in these things that we've mentioned, if you think I'm lying, simply go and look at the stats. You will see for yourself that everything that we said here is true. I hope you are blessed. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you.